I think Jim's trying to take over my program, my channel. He's in all of them, it seems like. But that's just because he's such a smart guy and nice guy. Hello everyone, welcome back to my next video. So Jim is an expert on boondocking in an RV, and that's an important question that I get all the time. Bob, I can't afford to live in an RV because I can't afford to pay for the RV parks, and you got around that by not paying for RV parks.
No, I tried it, stopping in every so often for dumping water, but I always ended up staying for a week, and it cost too much.
It just costs too much for most of us to afford that.
Right.
So you found a way around that, and we call it boondocking.
Yep.
And can you describe for us exactly what boondocking means?
Boondocking is camping out in the wild with no services, no picnic tables, no bathrooms, no trash cans, no water, no dump. It's beautiful and solitude, and it doesn't cost anything. You have to go into town. You have to provide for yourself completely. Pack it in, pack it out, and nobody's going to come help you.
Your particular style of boondocking is to go pretty far into the backcountry.
I do extreme boondocking.
Right. Now you can do it, and most people won't do it as extreme as you do. For one thing, you have a four-wheel drive tow vehicle.
I have a four-wheel drive tow vehicle. My trailer's been raised up to handle rougher conditions. And I have a lot of experience using four-wheel drive and going these areas. But if you don't, if you're closer to town, the masses come out and meet you during the holidays and stuff. So I learned to go where other people couldn't or wouldn't.
Right. We call it weekenders.
Yeah.
So every weekend, if you're within reach of the town, the hordes will come out and get out their generators and get out their ATVs and buzz all around you. I know you've seen some of that.
Well, they're out here enjoying the same thing I am. They're just doing it in a convenient sense.
Right.
And for me, the convenience is not seeing them, and them not seeing or hearing me also.
Right. So you go a little bit further than they can go, is the bottom line.
I go as far as I possibly can, and then some.
Right. And so for you folks who are concerned, well, I don't want to go that far. I want to be close and get to town easily. You can do that too.
Yeah, often I don't have to turn on the four-wheel drive and things like that. I can find isolated spots just farther away than other people are willing to do, but on serviceable roads.
Right. So it's your choice. It's not an either or. You can choose exactly what you want to do when you go out boondocking. Why are you doing it? In other words, just summarize again why you're boondocking.
I started doing it because that's all I knew. It was camping. We didn't call it boondocking. We called it camping. Originally, my lover and I had 3 schnauzers. Schnauzers bark at anything they can see or hear. If you're not by yourself, they're barking. And it was the only way to be able to take the dogs and not have them creating a fuss constantly. We had a saying, out here you should see or hear nothing, so if the schnauzers start barking, load Bessie.
Load Bessie being your gun.
Right.
Because there's problems out there.
There's something that shouldn't be out there.
Right. Either two-legged or four-legged.
Either way.
Either way. Bessie comes out.
That's right.
And of course it saved you a lot of money from RV parking.
Oh yeah.
RV campgrounds.
The cheapest RV campgrounds that would provide me all of the services are at least $25, often $50 and above. Mm-hmm. Some of them expect me to pay electric on top of it. It gets really expensive. I did have to stay in Denver. That was $675 a month plus the electric bill. That builds up really fast.
Really fast. And for us on a retirement income, a lot of us just can't afford that.
Right.
So boondocking is not only just preferable because we enjoy it, we enjoy camping, but are mandatory because that's all we can afford.
That's right.
Yeah. Fortunately, we love it, so we're forced into doing something we love to do, and how great is that? That's a good life.
Well, we figure out to do what we love to do.
Right. Right.
And it's wonderful life.
It is a good life. So, are you full time? How much do you boondock?
I am full time. I boondock Pretty much exclusively, unless I'm forced into a RV park for health or convenience. The last time I was in Denver, and I driving down from the boondocking areas was 2 hours each way. It was cheaper to rent the spot than it was to pay for the gas and the time, and plus leave Max alone, my puppy alone for half a day at a time. It just wasn't feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I just have no desire to be stuffed into a parking lot.
Right. So if you're forced into it, you'll be at an RV campground. Otherwise, you want to be out in nature.
That's right.
And free.
And free, which if I can make it the whole year without ever seeing an RV park, I'm just as happy as I can possibly be.
Right. Right. Me too. That's I think in the last 10 years of boondocking on public land, I've spent less than $50 at campgrounds, just because I really try to avoid it. So then that raises the question is, where are you going to do your boondocking? Where can we find these free places that are so wonderful?
Well, I find word of mouth is the biggest. Freecampsites.net, Campimonium, I think it's called.
Campendium.
Campendium. Those are my mainstays. Maps, BLM maps, National Forest maps, state land maps. I've been using state land this year. Anywhere I can find the resources or the ability to find some place to camp and have it be acceptable. I'm not out here trying to take advantage of anybody or break any rules or anything. I search out those places, and when I'm done here, I'll probably go for a drive in the four-wheel drive and start looking for my next spot.
Mm-hmm.
There's specific rules, and so I go beyond that point and start looking for my next spot that it's acceptable to camp in.
Right. Yeah, same thing. That's what I'm recommending everyone. Just follow the rules. I mean, 14 days, most land is 14 days out here, and that's nearly always enough.
Right.
That's about the limit of your tanks and your food and your water. And
well,
well, maybe not, but in your case, not. We'll talk about that more at length. So the big question a lot of people have who are in RVs is, they're baffled by all the details and specifics of, well, how do I get electricity? How, what am I going to do with my poop when I poop and pee and water? And some people don't seem to realize they're in a self-contained vehicle.
That's right.
That's designed to do exactly what you're doing, and they miss that.
Well, if you know what you're doing and what your needs are before you buy your vehicle, you can buy a vehicle that's very well set up for your needs. They have vehicles with 150 gallons of water, huge waste tanks, fridges and freezers, and lots of storage for you to keep food and everything you need. If you buy your vehicle before you know what you need, then you're going to have to modify your behavior and your time limits to what it can handle. My vehicle doesn't have all of the built-in facilities, so I changed it. I changed my capacities and changed the tanks or added storage and fresh water as I needed.
Right. Okay. Well, why don't we get into some of those specifics so that people, you folks at home, you can know exactly the best ways you can set yourself up to go boondocking and live really cheaply and be in nature and just really have the highest possible quality of life. So why don't we go take a look around and see what you've done?
Cool.
So one of your first questions is going to be, well, I need electricity, and I'm not going out and camp in the boonies without electricity. So do I have to run a generator all the time? And fortunately, the answer is no. You can get by really, really well with solar. And Jim, being someone who just loves to learn and do, you've kind of set yourself up with an extreme amount of solar.
I have 1,185 watts. This panel above my truck tilts, and I move the truck to track the sun, so it's effectively worth almost twice as much. That's 435 watts up there. It's worth on a daily basis twice as much as the 750 watts of panels I have on top of the roof of the trailer.
Right. So that's an awful lot, and most people don't have the room or the money to go that far. But so, what would you say the average person needs, just kind of as a minimum base level? That's hard to answer.
It is. I mean, again, they have to know what their needs are. On an RV, since you're running a lot more things, I'd want at least 700 watts. But I run a lot of equipment that most people, I run boosters and freezers, and I'm very wasteful with my electricity because I can be.
So here's an example. My friend Carolyn lives in her Class C and has for about a year. Well, it's closer to 2 years now, and she has steadily increased the amount of solar she has. And I think right now she has between 300 and 400 watts, something like that. And she's been pretty content with it. So I would say if 200 is the minimum, if you want to start with a 200 watt system, and I know that won't do anything extra. That won't do anything extra. It'll just keep you going. You'll run your fridge off propane. You'd have a hard time with your furnace. Your furnace might struggle with enough electricity. But if you can get 400 watts, I think you're going to be okay.
400 watts is pretty good for a basic RV. No extra freezer, none of the extra equipment. But that's going to keep your furnace going, your electronics, your lights. If you change your lights over to LED.
Right, change your lights over LED for sure.
A big thing about out here is conserve as much as possible and waste nothing. I can waste power because I got more power than I can use, but everything else I'm extremely conservative about.
Right. So that would be my recommendation, and it's not so exorbitantly expensive that you can't afford it. You can buy a 200 watt Renogy kit for between $300 and $400. Or a 400 watt kit for $600-700, something like that. So you can afford it, and if you can do, then you have to do the install yourself, or that really becomes expensive if you pay someone to do the install.
Solar has come down so much in price since I started 6 years ago. Over the holidays, I found a Dokio 200 watt mat portable, and it was $229. It's not as convenient as having it mounted, but it's extremely affordable.
Right. And that's a flexible solar panel you lay out on the ground?
It's 450 watts in a fabric with a fabric back, and they fold up to 21 by 28 by an inch.
Oh,
for storage.
I never heard of that.
It's a new thing. I try to stay on top of the solar stuff. I talk to a lot of people about it and try to help a lot of people with it.
Right. So at any rate, it can be pretty affordable, and it's what we're recommending. But if not, you can run a generator and just to charge your batteries and occasionally run a microwave or whatever. Right. You have a generator you keep as a backup.
I have a generator. I've used it once in the last year for myself. I was under complete tree cover for 3 days. After 3 days, I turned on the generator to charge my batteries because my solar generator could not handle the load under the tree cover.
For our listeners, what size of a generator would you recommend?
Well, in my case, as an extreme backup, I have a 800 watt. If you're going to start running things like a microwave, then you need to cover the largest wattage you're going to use, at least 2,000 watt. And if you want to save gas and not listen to a lawnmower running next to you, get an inverter generator. The Hondas and Yamahas and any more champions have great reputations, great customer service. But you'd be surprised. There's a lot of new brands that are coming out. I use a Sportsman. It was $152.
$152 for an 800 watt generator.
For an 800 watt generator. And I've only used it for myself once, but I've loaned it to people day in and day out for months on end. And boy, they run it a lot. It really has proven itself.
And that's a Harbor Freight generator?
No, it was from Home Depot.
Home Depot. Okay, well that's good too.
Right.
So, and that will keep your batteries charged.
That would, I could do almost everything I do on a regular basis and be able to run that it would run for 5 or 6 hours producing that kind of power. But yeah, I could use it every day.
Right. And so, for $152, you have a generator and you have to buy a battery charger.
Uh-huh.
What's a good battery charger going to cost them?
Well, actually, most RVs, it comes in it.
Oh, right. It would be built in. Right. They have it.
It's called the converter, and
Right.
it's built right into your system.
At the RV park, instead of plugging into the power pole, you plug into the generator.
That's right.
It's just that simple. And then it will charge the batteries and run your 110 through the house.
Right. Some have 30 amp connectors built right into the generator. Some you have to use an adapter, a dog bone. But yeah, it's really simple. And as long as you don't try to run more than your generator will handle, you're fine. If you want to run your rooftop air, you want to get a 3,000, 4,000 watt generator.
Right, right.
You look at what's the most wattage you're going to pull and get a generator to cover that.
So that's you know, at the very low end, but amazingly good quality, you would say, for $152 generator.
Oh yeah,
Amazingly good quality. And at the high end, you could spend $1,000, get a Honda 2000, and boy, you would be set for a very, very long time.
You could run everything but a rooftop air.
Right, and really, really well. So you can have electricity. That's the bottom line. That's what we're saying. For less than $1,000, you can have solar. You can have solar or a generator to give you all the electricity you need. It's just not an issue. That's one of the most easily solved of all the boondocking problems.
Yep. The biggest thing about having a generator is you have to provide it with gas. And if I used mine every day, it would use just over a half a gallon a day to keep my batteries charged. Eventually, I have to go into town. Eventually, I have to burn the gas to go into town.
Right.
And that's why I'd rather put the money into the solar, is I never have to burn the gas.
Right.
It's always there. It's always working. It's the most wonderful thing.
That brings up 4 words that I love: free electricity for life.
For life.
When you buy solar, free electricity for life.
Yep.
Now that's a screaming deal. I like it.
You invested in it once and use it forever.
Right. Now that's not really absolutely true. You're gonna have to replace the batteries eventually. So you do have an ongoing expense, but not much. Not compared to gas for a generator, or tune-ups for a generator,
or oil changes,
or oil change, or repairs.
And eventually, generators don't last forever either.
No, even the good ones do not.
That's right. I mean, if you spend thousands of dollars on a generator, somewhere down the road you're going to spend thousands of dollars again.
Yes, you are. It's an absolute.
I could replace my battery bank with 6 volts for $600-700, and they'll last me 10 years. If my generator lasts, if I spent that kind of money in a generator, you know, I'm going to have to replace it plus pay for the gas.
Right. And oil changes and repairs. And
that's right.
On and on. So thanks, Jim, so much for sharing all your years of experience and knowledge about boondocking in an RV. I think it's going to be invaluable for people.
Yep. You can get out as far as you want. You can stay as long as is legally possible. And there's answers to all of your issues as long as you put your mind to it and look around. And they don't have to cost a fortune.
Right. So folks, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, like us on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. And remember, you can do this. You can do this. This is not some difficult, hard, complex thing. Each and every one of you, I think, can find a way to make this happen for you. Even if you have to go in a minivan or a car or an SUV, that can make a pretty decent little home. So I hope you give us some thought. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.